All right, good morning. Welcome to the week, November 28th, our weekly soul guidance reading with Angel Marie from Grounded Dreamers. And let's take a moment to feel into finding the essence of how we're feeling in this moment as we're entering the week. Just pause and breathe and just find a word or a phrase to capture the essence of how you're feeling, what's in your heart, what's on your mind, what's in your gut. Beautiful. And let's go into the reading, our healing
Okay,
journey for the week.
so the key word for this week is changes.
Mm.
Now, this could be when changes are upon you and when they come into your life and it's sudden and it's hard to adapt to. This could be changes that you want to implement, that you want to create. Either way, we get the first response card to that topic of change is stress.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, even a little bit of, we talk about good stress, and that it's a natural response to shifts, right? The shifts come and it creates a little bit of an agitation. It's
Yeah,
up to us how far we allow that to come into our experience, right?
right.
Sometimes stress is just like a little road signal to kind of go, oh, okay, let me shift in this direction. But that's what came right after the change was the stress. And then we move into worry, which is what our mind does, and with the stress, right? Our mind can take on that energy. And the card says, I am learning that worry doesn't change an outcome. So as we're moving toward change, if we allow the stress and the worry to take over too much of our energy, it slows us down as we move toward. We think that we're sorting it out and we want to find out but it's actually slowing you down, creating confusion. Ultimately, this is a crown chakra energy. This is like almost, also a sort of a spiritual confusion too, almost like I don't know what the answer is. I can't see it at all. I don't know how to proceed.
Mm-hmm.
And then what do we get in response to that? What's our guidance? Is surrender. And I pulled it twice from two different decks. So I just wanted to point out, remember, we had that crown chakra energy, and here we have the guidance coming through the crown chakra. This is literally surrendering to the divine,
Mm-hmm.
to what the universe has on offer for you, how to move through this change, how to respond to it. And then this surrender card says, I can release my need to control.
Mm-hmm.
Just stating those words out loud to yourself, I can release my need to control, gives it a little breath. It adds a little bit of ease and allows you for some movement, right? When the change comes upon us, the stress comes and it tightens us up, and there's almost like a gripping and not a lot of movement. And
Mm-hmm.
instead, what we're going to do is allow, I can release that need to control and then allow for some shifts to start. It doesn't have to be fully on toward, your goal or toward what it is you want to manifest. It could just be a little shift. And even those little tiny cracks can create, bigger movement if we allow for it. And
Yeah.
that bigger movement comes next with the Thunderbolt card. And this is now identifying and letting fall away those things that are blocking us, those things that are impeding our progress. Usually, the worry has started all that, right? And we want
Right.
to let it fall away. Then from there, letting it fall away, we have this energy of, oh, there's a little more lightness, but
Mm-hmm.
we also want to make sure we ground. And in that process, this card breakthrough is
Mm-hmm.
kind of depicting, if you get grounded, the answer comes. This root is grounded down below the surface. I think
Mm-hmm.
this is, lily pad or something. And
Yeah.
then that's when the shift comes, is when we allow for almost a stillness
Mm-hmm.
in all of this stress and worry. It's almost like, okay, let me just get back down to what is certain for me. And that is my alignment, my groundedness. This very moment is certain. Then I got renewal, and that's a first chakra energy. That's being able to move from all this that has been killed off, this like deadened sort of landscape,
Mm-hmm.
into fullness again, and allowing. And this also has more crown chakra light energy coming through. So this is staying connected to spirit and staying connected to the divine through all of this is what will lead you to this energy of knowing. And this is more kind of, to me, it reminds me a lot also of crown chakra energy. It reminds me of this confusion card with
I
all
was
the
gonna
clouds
say,
swirling around. But
yeah,
in this guy's worried, and this guy is at peace.
yeah,
Right?
serenity.
Yeah. So if you can know, even without seeing the evidence or the result, if you can know where you're headed and know that the change that either came upon you or that you're trying to apply into your life, it will work itself out the way it's meant to. If you can know that,
Hmm.
then the stress is lessened.
And allow it to unfold.
Allow
Yeah,
it.
allow
Yeah.
it to unfold. It's so true that worry only actually creates more stress and confusion. It becomes a self-perpetuating cycle. If that's how we respond to change, it's the stress and the worry and the stress and the worry and that confusion, that state, that'll be what our experience is dominated by.
Mhm.
But if we can come from that place of knowing deep in the earth, connected to spirit and all that is, then it can unfold. And it's a practice to remember that.
It's a practice because it's very natural human inclination to get that mental,
And think,
charges going, get that, how am I going to figure this out? How am I going to,
I'm
it's
going to figure
very
this out,
natural.
right?
Yeah. How can I figure this out? How can I work through this? And it's just adding some breath to that,
Mm.
that we need to learn,
Yeah,
that
even
helps
now,
us.
breathing.
Yeah.
Even now, yeah, totally. Letting go of controlling outcomes in response to change it's just so critical, right, as a practice. So let's be with this and bring the breath in and just feel into your own inner being, your own system, just seeing what you see for yourself in this, feeling what you feel for yourself in this. And just feel yourself dropping into that deep knowing, that deep knowing, and imagine the clouds settling and opening up and rising from within that clarity. I can release, I can surrender, I can release my need for controlling outcomes. Just be with that. And let's move into the second half of the reading, our journey with change.
Okay. So now we want to know, how do we, so we know sort of from a higher perspective how to proceed with this, or how to allow for the release of the things that don't serve us. And then sometimes it's still kind of there. It's like, okay, I've released that, but I still don't know how to proceed. Like, I don't know it, right? And this is where it's time to dig deeper. This is where it calls for our patience. The first thing I got was retreat into nature. And this is one of the most spiritually cleansing activities we can do. And it's
Mm-hmm.
sometimes instantaneous for me. If I even just focus on what's outside my window, it's calming for me, right? If I'm too
Right.
busy working and I can't get out there, I could still just, even if it's just one tree, it helps to connect with that. And it does. And I was mentioning before, you could put on nature sounds while you work,
Mm-hmm. I
or
love
you
that
can,
suggestion. Mm-hmm.
right? And it still evokes the energy of nature, and nature and
Definitely.
our mother planet is life.
Yeah.
That's life right there. And we like to live our lives in our head, but the reality is that is life in action there. So listening to the nature sounds, or even in your meditations, transporting yourself to another place, a mountaintop or an ocean, expansive, whatever, whatever it is. So I love that guidance. That's our first step, is to just strip it away and be with what really is.
Mm-hmm.
I got patience next.
Mm-hmm.
And this is that practice of allowing for the divine and for the universe to move us through in the pace that we're meant to,
And it's
right?
natural cycles, right? The cycles of the moon.
Like the moon and the mother about to give birth. She didn't
Mhm.
say, at 20 weeks, she didn't say, hurry up, let's get this over with, right? You just know
Well,
that
she may
everything
have,
has
but
its time. Yeah.
but it
You
doesn't
might
help
say
because it's its own process, right?
it, and you don't, and she has no control over that,
That's right, she doesn't.
right? So that's nature's job. Then we're into more, okay, I accept that I am moving in the flow of the universe. I will be patient, and I accept that I'm moving in the flow of the universe. And then we get moment to moment,
Hmm.
which is precisely that. It's keeping your feet just straight under you in this very moment, and then moving to the next step when it's time. And you will know when it's time if you stop and listen,
Hmm.
right? Instead of thinking it through and making your little checklists, you'll know.
Hmm.
Now we're in the flow. Now you're moving with the energy. Now your pace could pick up just from the natural downstream kind of flow, instead of trying to stand, as the waves come, stand and fight them. It's like, oh no, I'm going to go with this, right? Allowing for that, which creates the start of your new path. Now those changes that were coming and kind of stopping us in our tracks and worrying us, we've embraced, and now we're ready to set forth, um down in the direction that we're guided.
Yeah.
And more comes. Follow your heart. I got right next to abundance. So this is the energy of gratitude. This is, instead of what's missing, you focus on what is and what you have, and the different ways that your life enriches your experience, which is, abundance, not just monetarily, not just, amassing material things. There's much more to abundance than that, in the
Sure.
connections you share with others, your relationships, um the way you see life. There's an abundant, if you focus on the abundance all around you, then it shifts the way you see everything in your experience.
Yeah.
Then we move into harmony. Now we've got mind, body, spirit in alignment, and we're moving forward in that sort of. And I love, because in this spread, you don't really see it, but the harmony is right below the moment to moment.
Yeah.
So that is your sort of grounded energy of that present moment awareness. This is like the result of it. And then we've got an actual the actual evidence coming through of positive change. Remember, we started with change, and we found a way to make sure that it's going in a positive direction for us.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then the final card, which is showing our progress, our real
It
progress,
is the
is the
master.
master. We're mastering how to step off from life every now and then, in order to let the pieces assemble, let the pieces come in front of you, and then find the way forward, instead of trying to live it all out in your mind.
Hmm. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, and I think we're also mastering how we respond to the inherent changes that are part of life. And we're mastering how we, you know, are we going to respond with clinging and stress and worry, which creates confusion? Or are we going to take a step back and create space for ourselves and then really master that growth mindset of, okay, I'm going to orient toward what's possible, what I have, and not towards the scarcity of what I'm not or what I don't have or what I'm losing, right? It is a practice to master this, and it's just so important. I want to share too. The other day, at a seminar for entrepreneurs, and it was fascinating to hear how many times I heard extremely successful entrepreneurs, extremely successful, like seven-figure making entrepreneurs say, they were told numerous times, you don't know what you're talking about. That doesn't make any sense. You're crazy. Da, 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 da. Everybody thought I was crazy. I think about the Fool card that you pulled, the Fool card, right? And the Flow card, the Go with the Flow card and the Fool card look very similar, right? And we have to, right? Yeah, exactly, right? Look how similar those look.
Mhm. The figure himself. Yeah.
The figure himself, right? One is falling into the unknown and the uncertainty, but doing it with beginner's mind, energy behind it, and trust, right? The other is floating, right? So we can free flow and float in free flow in fear and anxiety, or we can lean into and allow trust and allow faith and orient our mindset towards that. We have a choice. So, some thoughts to share. Powerful. Mastering change is mastering really the inherent workings of life because change is happening all the time. So let's be with this. Just take a moment to breathe, go within, and set your intention for this week from whatever you see for yourself in this reading. And also invite you to start thinking about the close of the year. This is a perfect reading to bring you into a powerful close for this year, 2022. Mm. And so it is. Mm. All right, thank you.
Mhm.